the blue shirt on the front row is one. Michael? Over there. Oh, great. Well, we also have another proclamation, and to celebrate Economic Development Week. Paul Fry, can you join me, please? Amanda, you going to come up? First off, welcome. Proclamation celebrating Economic Development Week, October 22nd to the 28th, 2017. Whereas the City of Hagerstown's Department of Community and Economic Development is an active member of the Maryland Economic Development Association, a nonprofit organization established in 1961, whose mission is to enhance the knowledge and skills of its members and encourage partnerships and networking among those committed to bringing jobs and investment to Maryland. And whereas MEDA members promote the economic well-being of Maryland by working to improve the state's business climate and the professionalism of those in the field of economic development, including other professionals with an interest in the economy of Maryland, and through its regular meetings, special programs, and projects, members address diverse issues. And whereas the economic growth and stability of the state affects all regions and jurisdictions of Maryland, and the City of Hagerstown is an important component of the state's economic success. Now therefore, I, Robert E. Brucci, the second mayor of the City of Hagerstown, Maryland, do hereby proclaim the week of October 22nd to the 28th, 2017 as Economic Development Week in Hagerstown, Maryland, and encourage all citizens to recognize and reaffirm the importance of business development locally and statewide. And that's for you. If you want to say a few words?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And on behalf of the Chamber and the business community, and working with Main Street and Amanda and with economic development folks, with Jill and the rest of her team, we're proud to accept this proclamation. And as it was read, the private sector does drive the economy, and we have to do it in partnership. So on behalf of the Chamber and the private sector, I want to thank the city and your team for the work you're doing here to drive the business in downtown Hagerstown and Hagerstown in general. And we're doing our part, so hopefully November 1st, I think we're going to open right across the street. We're happy about that. Your team has been great to work with. We're excited to help be part of this growth in downtown Hagerstown. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we just also want to say that economic development definitely takes partnerships and collaborations. And a great example of that is the city working with the county to do the urban improvement project, and then also with Main Street and our partners getting the downtown economic growth going down there as well.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. That's for you. I'll be down to see you. Look forward to it. Okay, next on the agenda is citizen comments, and we have one signed up, Max Preet. Brett?
I've been a citizen of downtown Hagerstown over 15 years now. I've been coming to this town since I was 16 years old. In light of the discussions we've had, well, everybody's been having about the so-called commercials or the commercial so-called making fun of downtown Hagerstown. I don't understand the uproar about the commercial and wanting to pull funding from that. I think the best thing we could do as a community right now would be to reach out to these people and prove to them that there's more here than to tuck and run. But I have some concerns with downtown. I've been working downtown, and beginning of the year we were given a book by the police department saying they were going to provide more patrols to stop in and sign this book twice a day. I haven't had a signature in that book in over 2 months. I have no police patrol downtown. We have no police presence on the streets. Everybody's in a car. There's no foot patrols left in this town. There hasn't been for years. I've been telling everybody I can to say stuff about this. Nobody seems to care. When you don't have police presence downtown. It allows what happened, is happening now to happen downtown Hagerstown. This is not a big town, not a big area. It's a 6 to 8 square block area that we need to patrol. 4 to 10 patrol officers should be able to cover that, no problem. But we don't even get 1 or 2 a month to stop in my shop and sign the book that they're required to sign.
Max, what shop do you have?
Washington Street Pawnbrokers.
Okay.
They're supposed to stop in twice a day to sign that book. Like I said, it's been over 2 months since I even stopped in to sign a book. So how am I supposed to have faith in my community when my jobs like that are mandatory, just to show that you're on patrol, are not filled for over 2 months? I mean, that doesn't rest on me. That rests on the community and the police department. They need to step up their game downtown Hagerstown and show more vigilant patrols. I mean, there's so much dirt that happens in that parking lot. I'm right across the street from the city center parking lot. Mm-hmm. I can sit on my desk and watch out the window countless drug deals. I don't know if they're prostitution or what, but there's people meeting up, living together. It's a horrible, horrible sight to see in my downtown. But there's nobody there to do anything about it. Now, I don't know if I'm supposed to go vigilante and do it myself, but something needs to be done here. And like I said, with the police presence that's supposed to be downtown that's not there, it leaves me at a loss for words on how I'm supposed to take action or pride in my community. I don't understand why they get set to do this, and it was great for the first 2 months. Then it starts slacking off 1 signature a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month, nothing. And I mean, it's pathetic if you ask me. There's no foot patrols on the main corridors in downtown Hagerstown. We have so many problems surrounding this city center parking lot. You have drugs being sold right down the street from the city hall, right on the corner in front of Spickler's. They're selling joints or the spice right there, out in broad daylight in public, asking people when they walk in and out of the store if they want it. And there's nothing done about any of this. There's overdoses happening in that parking lot every day, every week, all the time. I see the ambulance down there. I used to live next to the hospital. I live on North Potomac now. I hear more sirens now living up there than I did when I lived next to the hospital downtown. I don't understand. I mean, I know it's not going to change overnight, but we're talking a year here that the police presence has declined in that much in a year, less than a year. And there's got to be a better way to do this and go about this. I don't know if we have to hold some people accountable or not, or what needs to be done, but somebody needs to make a move somewhere, because it's getting really bad out there. And that commercial was 100% true. And I don't care who you are. You walk down these streets at night, you don't feel safe. I'm 6'4", 6'5", 320 pounds. I've lived in this town for 20 years. I've been coming to this town over 20 years, and I don't feel safe walking down the streets at night. So I don't know how anybody else does.
Well, I just want to interject real fast, because I will tell you that we do have 2 walking men 24/7. 24/7, 365.
One sits in front of the Barbara Ingram School to cross children 90% of the time.
No, that's actually the school resource officer for the Barbara Ingram School. Okay?
Okay.
There is one assigned there. That doesn't count him. We have 2 walking men 24/7, 365 in downtown. All right? That changed probably 7-8 months ago, where we used to have a downtown patrol, and we found out that we got better coverage and better service with having 2 people assigned, period, to the core, walking those unit blocks in particular, like you're talking about. And I will tell you that I've seen them over here in the central parking lot, moving people along and doing those kind of things. Matter of fact, we were on a tour tonight down looking at options to trash pickup, and Mr. Burkett from Burkett's Deli stopped us all and said, listen, what you guys are doing down here is fantastic, because I've seen a big change. So all I can tell you is that I can guarantee you your book will be signed. I can guarantee that.
Because
But-
I came here to say something. That's the only reason it'll be signed.
Well,
Not because it's the police
first off, Max, I don't know that they haven't been in to sign it if you don't tell me, right?
Hey, yeah.
I mean, I don't stop in your store every day. I don't do that, so I don't know if they've been in your store or not, unless you tell me they haven't.
All right.
But I can guarantee you that it will be signed from now on out, and they'll make sure you know that they are in that area, okay? And now, as far as other things, and I'll address the Bob Rock's comment.
Yeah, please do.
I'm not, just so you know, and I'll use the modern term, I'm not butthurt over that commercial, just so you know, okay? I don't care.
Well,
I know it was said in parody. I don't care. What I care about is the fact that when you throw comments in there about overdoses and those kind of things that affect people on a daily basis in this city,
Yes.
that is a low blow to any community. I don't care who you are or what's happening in your community.
It may be a low boat, but it is a truthful.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't care if it's true or not. We all know
Okay.
that happens.
Okay.
We all know that. Believe
Right.
me. I mean, if a day does not go by that I don't know what has happened when it comes to overdoses in the city the day before, okay? I know. I just don't need someone making a joke about it. That's all I'm saying. Now, again, I'm not butthurt. I don't care.
Well, the city
You know?
is pulling,
I mean,
I believe the city proposed to pull funding for the station.
I've never said that. Have you heard me say that?
I'm just saying what
I'm just telling you, I've never said that. I've heard
Okay.
someone say that, but that's all I've heard so far. As far as I know, nothing's happened yet. So we talk. We have that ability to do that when we're in work sessions, all right?
Good deal.
And comments are made, and those kind of things are said. Whether or not that happens, I can't tell you. All I know as of right now, that hasn't happened. So we'll see what happens in the future. But as of right now, again, I'll tell you, I'm not upset about it. I don't care. It was said as a parody. It was said as a joke. It was supposed to be funny. It just hit a nerve when it comes to certain things like opioid addiction and deaths and overdoses. So that's my part about Bob. That's the first thing I've said about Bob Rock, so just so you know.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you,
Have
Max.
a wonderful day.
No, wait, before you leave, can I say something? I was going to wait till my council comments. I just want to thank you, because you were one of probably 20 people who reached out to me and said, when is your meeting? I want to come talk. And you're the only person who actually came and did it. So it's real easy for a lot of people to make noise behind a computer and complain, but I genuinely appreciate that you actually came and spoke. That means a lot, because we need to hear people's opinions, and putting it 300 comments deep in a Facebook comment, we don't have enough time to read them. So I just appreciate it, because several people reached out, and you're the only one that actually came to speak. So thank you.
A lot of big problem too is with that social media.
Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
Well, there's everybody has two identities when it comes to social media. You have what you had, say, behind your keyboard, and you have what you do in real life. And that's why I try not to spend too much time on social media, because it's really anti-social. But, people will say one thing and they won't back up their words. When it comes face to face, they'll talk all this on Facebook and stuff. When you come to see them, it's a whole totally different story, different attitude, different everything.
Well, I appreciate you coming in, Max.
I do too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope they don't fall into that.
Take care. That's the only person who was actually signed up to speak. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak? Now's the chance. Okay, moving on. City administrator's comments?
Just a couple reminders, this Saturday, October 28th at 6 p.m. is the 92nd annual Alsatian Mummers Parade. And then also the city's trick or treat will be on Tuesday, October 31st from 6 until 8 p.m. That's all, Mayor.
Cool. Mr. Elshire, we'll start with you.
I don't have anything.
Need me to come back?
No, I don't have anything.
Mr. Corman?
A couple things. First off, I had the pleasure of attending the grand opening of Mulberry Lofts this past, I guess it was Thursday. Just wanted to congratulate Aaron Peternetz and his team and his stepfather John Laughlin, who have developed that property. If you haven't been down there, definitely encourage it. I think everyone's familiar with the building. They have over 30 tenants in there right now, and it really came out really nice. Next, I'll echo some of the sentiments that the city administrator made in regards to the Mummers Parade this weekend. There's also, I believe, Halloween, excuse me, is at the fairgrounds. And I believe this weekend we have the Vasel delegation coming in as
Yes.
well. So there's a lot going on in Hagerstown this weekend. A lot of positive things to do and things for people to be involved in. Unfortunately, just so everyone knows, I will not be here this weekend. So if you don't see me in the parade, unfortunately, it is my wedding anniversary, 10 years this weekend, so I will be out of town. So if anyone's
Did you
asking,
just use unfortunately and my 10-year wedding anniversary in the same sentence?
unfortunately, I will be out of town.
Man,
Yes.
boy, I hope your
I actually got
wife's-
married on the Mummers Parade also, so it's all full circle. Last but not least, we don't have a meeting next week because of Halloween. So I guess it's not this Friday, the following Friday is the North-South football game. That being said, I have proposed a challenge to my fellow council member here, Miss Emily Keller. She's graciously accepted. I reached out and spoke with, and want to thank Athletic Director Myers from South High, along with Athletic Director Cunningham from North High. They have provided us some jerseys here, which I will give one to Councilman Keller as well. And basically, whoever loses, I was going to ask you, but you got North South, you got it all going in your family.
I can't wear red,
Yeah,
if
well.
that's what you're gonna have.
I'm already itching thinking about it, so.
So anyways, whoever loses has to wear the jersey of the opposing team to the following council meeting. So,
I think it ought to be
South
the
High
following
Rebels, I need you
voting
guys to
council,
win.
not just the,
You're
maybe the whole
Yes,
month.
I am a rebel,
you're pretty safe.
rebel at heart, yeah.
I don't know if I would have made.
Thank you, as it should be. Can I wear it now?
sure.
You need to hear nothing from my brother.
I figure it's a win-win for me. I mean, I can look good in green as well, so I'll be all right.
Oh, man.
That it for you?
So, yeah, that's it for me. So thank you.
Ms. Geller, your turn.
Yes. The only thing I have, I just wanted to thank the staff and students at Antietam Academy in honor of Red Ribbon Week, which we just had the proclamation about. They're having their own Red Ribbon Week regarding Your Future is Key, Stay Drug-Free. Yesterday, I had the privilege of speaking to their staff at their weekly staff meeting just about drug initiatives in the city, the problems they're seeing, what they're hearing in schools, and what we can do to fix it. And today, I got to speak to about 100 students in 4 different groups specifically about opioid addiction, but about all of it together. And these were kids middle school age and high school age. And if you think they don't know what's going on, you are wrong, because we had some very candid conversations about talking to their fellow peers and what's going on at home, what they see in their neighborhoods, and what they can do about it. Some of it was terrifying that these kids know that the length of what they know, but some of it was refreshing that there are so many people who recognize the effects of what starting does and what you can lose. And it was a good time, and I really, the staff at Antietam Academy is trying so hard to turn lives around, and they deserve all the praise in the world. So I thank them for having me. What's up?
Mr. Metzner?
I just want to make sure we're on the same sheet of music. Halloween is going to be Tuesday night, trick or treat night. Is that right?
31st.
31st? So hopefully everybody will have a safe and fun weekend this weekend at the parade. Thank you, Mayor.
I look forward to the Mummers Day Parade Saturday night. I will have in the vehicle with me the Bürgermeister from Basel, Germany, and her husband, and it'll be a great honor for me to have them ride. I don't think they've ever ridden in a Mummers Parade in 92 years, so I think it'll be a new experience for them, and hopefully it's a nice night and everybody has a good time. You know, I want to expound a little bit more about the Bob Rock situation. Again, it's, you know, I understand that it was all done in fun. I do. I understand that. But when you know someone who has been affected by opioid addiction, and you know someone or several people whose children has lost their lives to opioid addiction, it's not funny, not that part. And you could talk about the crime, you could talk about all that you want to, and you know, everybody has that problem in America. We aren't the only city with crime, and we won't ever be the only city without crime. And it just happens. Crime happens. But the opioid addiction and the comments about crack cocaine and overdoses, that's just too much. So I said my piece, so we're going to move on. I need to get a motion to adopt the minutes of September 12th, 19th, and the 26th.
Mr. Mayor, hereby move for the approval of minutes presented for the mayor and council meetings held on September 12th, September 19th, and September 26th, all of 2017.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move that all of the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Under new business, approval of resolution, execution memorandum of understanding, agreement with Frostburg State University at USMH for a portion of the city of Hagerstown property known as Borough Box, located at 60 West Washington Street, Hagerstown, Maryland.
Mr. Mayor, I move the mayor and city council approve the attached resolution authorizing the execution of memorandum of understanding agreement for a portion of the city of Hagerstown property known as Bureau Box, located at 60 West Washington Street in Hagerstown, Maryland. The MOU will be between the city of Hagerstown and Frostburg State University at USMH.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Approval of resolution, execution memorandum of understanding with SCORE and the Borough Box.
Mr. Mayor, hereby move the mayor and city council approve the attached resolution authorizing the execution of memorandum of understanding agreement for a portion of the city of Hagerstown property known as Borough Box located at 60 West Washington Street in Hagerstown, Maryland. The MOU will be between the city of Hagerstown and SCORE Hagerstown, number 0539.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Approval of salt utilization agreement with the Maryland State Highway Administration.
Mr. Mayor, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, hereby move for the approval of a resolution to approve a salt utilization agreement with the Maryland State Highway Administration. The agreement allows the city of Hagerstown to purchase road salt from state highway stockpiles during winter weather emergencies. The city shall reimburse the Highway Administration for costs of the salt delivery charges and overhead.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Approval of contract extension with the Groundskeeper, Inc.
Mr. Mayor, the mayor and city council approve to extend the landscape bed and ground maintenance for various locations citywide contract with Groundskeeper, Inc. The extension is for 2 additional years at a price adjustment of 1% or $25,351 for each of the additional years. The additional contract was approved on August 30, 2016 at an annual amount of $25,100. All of the terms of the contract will remain in force.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Approval of City Center Holiday Parking Program.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and city council to approve the city center holiday parking program that allows for free parking after 5 p.m. weekdays and all day Saturday and Sunday in the University District parking deck and Arts and Entertainment District parking deck, beginning Monday, November the 27th, 2017, through Monday, January 1st, 2018. Normal parking operations will resume on Tuesday, January the 2nd, 2018. Parking in the city center, Central Business District Street, and lot meters will continue to be free after 5 p.m. and all day Saturday and Sunday as it is normally throughout the year.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Approval of an after-school program at the Robert W. Johnson Community Center.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for mayor and council approval for funding of the after-school program at the Robert W. Johnson Community Center. The Robert W. Johnson Community Center provides a variety of constructive after-school programs to area youth. This program runs for the 2017-2018 school year at a cost of $17,940.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Approval of changes in the assumptions used for the annual financial reporting for the City of Hagerstown Police and Fire Employees Retirement Plan.
Mr. Mayor, hereby move to approve the following changes to be made for the annual actuarial report for the reporting for the police and fire retirement plan. 1, to change the long-term rate of return to 7.25%. 2, to change salary growth assumption for OPED to 4.25% for Gatsby purposes.
Second.
Discussion.
I would just note before we approve this, that I continue to believe that those expectations are above that which we will actually expect to see, and that is an issue that's going to need to be addressed sooner or later.
Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Approval of funding for municipal stadium improvements for the 2018 season.
Mr. Mayor, consistent with the terms of the lease and amendments, I hereby move for the approval of $35,000 for improvements at Municipal Stadium as follows. Contract with Musco to replace all field lights and re-aim, replace concession counter and add roof. Contract with Ellsworth Electric for electrical conduit repair. Contract for general plumbing and electrical repairs. Complete other work listed in the attached October 17, 2017 memo. As funds allow, the $6,321 in fund balance will be spent if the lease is extended beyond the 2018 season. Further authorize staff to complete the work prior to the start of the 2018 Hagerstown Suns baseball season. Funding for the project is from rent paid by the Suns.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Memorandum of agreement with the Maryland Historical Trust and Hager 5 LLC for 43 to 53 West Washington Street.
Mr. Mayor, I hereby move for the mayor and city council to approve entry into a memorandum of an agreement with Maryland Historical Trust and Hager 5 LLC for the 43 to 53 West Washington Street redevelopment project. The city's proposed property sale to Hager 5 LLC and the Hager 5 LLC redevelopment plan requires the MOA due to federal and state funding associated with the property. The MOA agreement is attached.
Second.
Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Termination of contracts and prohibit future purchases with for standing broadcasting.
Mr. Mayor, I have a move for mayor and council action to authorize staff to terminate any and all existing contracts and prohibit any further purchases with Verstandig Broadcasting due to the actions of the radio station known as 101.5.
Second.
Mr. Mayor, I move to table.
There's a motion to table. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion to table?
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, there are two things I would say, the reason I made this motion. First of all, is from a process point of view. And this is not the first time that we've run into this type of a problem, although now it's being moved into an actual ordinance or motion. And that is no discussion at a work session. This is brought up at council comments and just strictly complaints and council comments and, well, should we put in a motion and do something? Yes, do it. And here we are. We can have the discussions tonight if we want to, but I would first of all say as process, we need to get down that when council comments, we have 3 members who want something done. Generally, I would urge that should be put for a work session to have discussions. I have a problem with this particular motion, and if it comes to a vote, would vote against it. I totally understand why we would not advertise with 101.5 while these spots about our community, and I use the word community for a purpose, that as long as they are being broadcast. The idea of spending money on radio advertising is because somewhere along the line our staff feels like it is a wise thing to do. For instance, we get complaints that we're not advertising enough for things like Blues Fest, but yet now we want to wipe out forever by a motion entire advertising on a number of radio stations for only one reason, and that is their free speech. If in fact we start getting down to that issue, then we risk the slippery slope of somebody saying, geez, you know, I don't like Rush Limbaugh or Sean Hannity. I don't think we should advertise on a radio station that carries them. They spread things that I don't like. And if the decision is made that we should not put our money into advertising where it's most effective, but to put it into stations that support our community, then we should put 100% of all our radio advertising dollars at WJEJ, the most community-oriented radio station that exists. Seems, especially in the morning, to live for nothing but promoting our community. I believe that staff has the right and the appropriate right, just like we didn't make a decision to advertise in 101.5. Matter of fact, none of us, we don't make those decisions, staff do. And I would like to think that staff would have the authority and the ability, especially with suggestions from council, that that radio station not be engaged with advertising for us as long as these spots about the community remain on their website and or the radio. That is not necessarily to punish them for what they're saying, but why advertise on a station whose net effect is to potentially take business away from our city because of what they're saying. I don't know what other stations Verstanding owns. I don't know why we would, this to me is overreaching. It is a motion that permanently says we cannot spend any money on these stations forever. And my other concern is in the council comments, and I totally understand the comments that, geez, we can now take the $10,000 we're paying Verstanding and put that to the museum. But the problem is that infers that the $10,000 we've been spending on advertising has just been a waste of money and we shouldn't spend it. And if the fact is that spending money on radio advertising is not effective, then that's something we should consider. But if staff is telling us it's an effective way to advertise, let's not go overboard. And I think this particular motion takes us beyond where we want to go. And I think a discussion at a work session would be a much more appropriate way to do this. And I understand everybody's comments that they had at the work session regarding that as long as our community continues to have these spots on their website and elsewhere, that it is not a net effective place to advertise our wares. But again, I have trouble saying that every station owned by this company forever should be barred from us spending any money, and would hope that we can vote to table this and set it in for a work session and come up with an appropriate method to deal with it.
So, I have two comments. The first is I was certainly open to a compromise of the motion to say termination of current contracts with Verstanding Broadcasting and leave it at that, which, you know, removes that indefinite prohibition. And I don't plan on making any comments at any work session beyond this discussion tonight, except to say that I would be amenable to that compromise. But the only comment that I had remaining on this item was I didn't really listen to all of the Hagerstown. I didn't get you know, offended to a great deal as I think folks assume. And you know, it's one thing 50 years ago to say, well, we're not going to do this while this entity has this out there. In this age of media distribution, it's out there permanently now. So there's no way really to take those things back, so to speak. But here's the reality, and I said it then, and I would only repeat it here. All this did was make me go to the site, and I said at the time of my comments, you know, everyone's certainly open. I get it; it's a bit. Everyone's certainly, you know, completely free to say what they want. But you go to that other site, and you know, there's 15 other communities on this site, which are still up at that time. They were pulled, you know, after those comments were made. Williamsport, I think, what was an example that, you know, that stuck with me, because I don't live in Williamsport, obviously, but in that bit, it talks about Williamsport and having this single street. And, you know, and then it refers to the drugstore that's on that single street in this little town of Williamsport, where everybody, you know, talks about where you can get all, you know, you can get your drugs at the drugstore in Williamsport. In fact, you can get all your drugs in Williamsport, and that's what it says, to paraphrase. And I think to myself, you know, I don't live in this community of Williamsport, but my uncle had the drugstore at one point, I believe in Williamsport and Clear Spring, and have 5 kids now. All 5 of them have attended Rehoboth Learning Center, which is a great, great place in Williamsport. 2 of my kids are there now, 2 blocks from this drugstore in this single street that's being referenced in Williamsport. And to send an email saying, look, you know, it was inappropriate, you know, we're going to pull the thing for Hagerstown, and then to get on. And you see that all these other communities are still on there. And one that you have that sort of direct connection to is painted in that light. Makes you question your mind. So if you felt that it was inappropriate and that's why you pulled the one, why leave the others, like Williamsport, up there that are portrayed in this manner of basically being a drug town? You know, in a place where you, as a parent, send your kids to for their early childhood learning experiences every day. And so I guess I just see it in that way, and I think to myself, you know, just as folks are free to say those things, you know, in this aspect, we're not a government, we're a business. It's about sort of, you know, utilizing those business dollars with entities that positively reflect your business interests. And that didn't do that. And it'd be nice if we operated in a vacuum in this world, but we don't. I said that then, and so that's all I have to say about the issue, and that's as far as I'll go in compromising on the action that we take.
Anybody else?
I'll just add to that. I think the misperception of that we don't know that there's drugs and we don't know that there's crime, like this had nothing to do with that. Whether you think that radio ad was true or not, we're aware that there's crime in this community. We're aware that there are drugs in this community. But the exact definition of advertising is to sell something and portray it in a positive light. And we're paying them to advertise, and that's not what they did. They didn't sell Hagerstown or portray it in a positive light. And you know, when I got elected, one of the most popular things I heard from the community were, you own a business, and we're so happy to have a business person in office because we need people to make business-like decisions. So I'll tell you from my business owner mind, if that were my business and I were paying them $1, let alone $100 or $10,000 to advertise my business, and an hour later they were saying negative things, even in comedy, about my business, I wouldn't pay them anymore. And find me a restaurant owner that's going to pay someone to advertise for them, and then the next day they talk about the food's bad or, you know, whatever. You don't do that. No, there's not a business owner in this town that's going to continue to pay advertising dollars toward a network, a radio station, a newspaper, whatever. You're not going to pay to have them advertise your business if they turn around and talk bad about it. It's as simple as that. This is not about whether the ad was true or not, or whether they took it back or took it down. It's not about that. It's about you don't spend money to advertise, sell something, portray it in a positive light when they don't do that. That's the smart business decision to do. Any business in this community would pull the advertising. And the business owners in this community that are trying to sell something and trying to attract customers should be outraged by it as well, because it affects their business. And I can't fathom how we're not looking at it like that. This is not about being offended. This is not about, it's not about that. It's about, we're paying them to provide a service, and they did the opposite of what service they are supposed to provide. So with my business owner mind, you don't continue to pay someone to portray you in a positive light when they don't do that.
Paul, do you have anything to add?
The only thing I would add is I think everyone here makes great points, and I go back to the reason I seconded Lou's motion is I think we need to, I don't think this is going to get decided this evening. I think with the way it's written, that Lou is very accurate, is to end this basically, any advertising with this entity for future is a pretty wide brush to paint.
I agree.
I do totally agree with Emily and Kristen at the same time of, yeah, absolutely, why would we pay these people if they're gonna, portray us in that light? But at the same time, I also think we'd be remiss not to listen to them and work with them and work with staff who, as Lou said, knows that dynamic a little bit better than we do, perhaps, of what may or may not be in the city's best interest in the future. So, I mean, I think we need to come back as a work session and hash that out for exactly how we want to go one way or another.
I'm fine with that as well.
Well, I also concur that we need to look at this in a work session, because I had asked, when this was brought up the last time, that I would like to know what we actually do spend in advertisements for standing, and I haven't seen that yet, so. So we have a motion to table, and I believe we have a second, so I need to get a vote on the motion to table this required motion. All in favor of tabling?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion carries 3-1. And folks, that'll do it for us for this evening. Thank you very much. Captain, I want to